Well, that's Sir Paul McCartney, who's playing the Marcus Amphitheater, a sold-out show at Summerfest on July 8th. Definitely the big headliner of the year, but there's lots of great headliners to talk about, and some headliner missed opportunities to talk about, too. And I'm here with Katie O'Connell, music editor for the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, Tyrone DJ Bazan Miller, who is co-author of those Hip Hop Guys blog for tapmilwaukee.com, and John M. Gilbertson, who's been a veteran music writer for us for many, many, many moons. So thank you guys very much for joining us.
Of course.
So yeah, let's talk about that lineup. You know, we've got everyone from Sir Paul McCartney to Sir Mix-a-Lot. Katie, what do you think? Good, bad? What's your thoughts?
You know what? I would say it's good, but inconsistent.
Okay.
So you have someone like Paul McCartney, who's a heavyweight. It's an impressive get for them. And the last time that he played in Milwaukee at Miller Park, I was there. And I thought it was an incredible show.
It was.
I was a little worried because I was a fan of his when I was a kid, and I have these memories with my brother. We're dancing to Hard Day's Night, but it was a great show, and he still has that energy. So I'm excited for that one. But at the same time, you have this weird balance where you have Blink-182, which felt like a last-minute filler, and maybe not a band that at this moment would deserve that kind of slot. So I think it's good. I think that there are opportunities for people with different interests in music, maybe with the exception of you know, a strong hip-hop headliner. But I'm excited to see what they can use Paul McCartney for next year, too. Yeah,
hopefully they can maybe attract some people they didn't get. And things that they missed out on this year, they can be stronger next year. You mentioned hip-hop, and I'd love to talk to you, Tyrone, about this, too, because from you know, Summerfest in recent years has had some really good gets. With Kendrick Lamar last year, they had Outkast when they reunited. They had Kanye West, Wiz Khalifa when he was blowing up. This year, it's the Roots and Common basically, and Nelly if you want to count Nelly, and Pitbull if you want to count Pitbull. You know, I think it's a pretty weak, inexcusably weak hip hop lineup.
I mean, I would have to agree because there's so many artists out here who are blowing up. Younger, you know, for the younger hip hop fan, and that's what I think is missing. So all the young people I know or who talk to about the music scene, about hip hop, they're like, there's no point in us going. Like we don't see anything that represents us. So you think about people like Anderson .Paak, the internet, even, you know, J. Cole, Chance the Rapper, all of these names that are just obvious out there that are just not. So I think for them, the hip hop, you know, booking was like, let's get for the older fans, you know, the older hip hop fans, and I'm sure they'll come out, you know. But for the younger hip hop fan that is looking for something to do, I think there's really not much for them.
No, there isn't. I mean, last year and for a few years, they've had the Rhymesayers stage, which is that label from Minneapolis, and they had a lot of. It was a packed stage all day long. A lot of young hip hop fans that were there. That's not back there this year too. That's also a major blow.
I really, you know, there's really no excuse, you know. But I'm sure, you know, they plan out how they want to plan it and make their choices. So what can you do?
One part of the lineup that I think is stronger this year is the country lineup, John. You've got the U.S. Cellular Connection stage, which has been largely an alternative rock stage. Now is kind of the home for emerging country artists like Cam. And at the same time, you have Willie Nelson. You have Luke Bryan, who's playing a sold-out show at the Marcus. What are your thoughts about country? What's going on here?
I think it's actually a pretty good, if you like whatever kind of country you like, because there are so many, you know, divisions there now. If you like your alt country, you've got some of that with guys like Ryan Adams. If you like the emerging stuff, yes, as you mentioned, Cam. If you like, you know, people who are sort of on you know, sort of in that borderline, you got someone like Tim McGraw. He could sort of be halfway between Willie Nelson and Cam easily. I mean, probably is an age. You know, Willie, of course, is you know, a perennial. I mean, just a guy who, generally speaking, you can rely on him to be at least a 3-star show kind of guy. And I think he'll be a big draw just because he's one of the last in the way of that whole outlaw generation.
For sure, and Chris Christopherson's opening for him. And
which again, who's also, you know, I mean, well, he was never in strong voice, but he's in strong form as a writer and a performer.
And we can't forget Chris Stapleton, who's playing on the Marcus Amphitheater.
He's especially, I mean, another one of those, another neo-Nashville guy who's emerged, and it certainly has been an excellent, a very interesting year for country, and I've got a couple of things from that list that are on my list of the ones to watch for.
For sure, for sure. You know, Stapleton is playing the Marcus Amphitheater on July 2nd, and he's co-headlining with Alabama Shakes, which is one of my personal picks for acts to see this year. It's kind of an interesting billing because they don't really go together.
And that's, you know, and to your point, I mean, there's obviously been, you know, it hasn't become a huge thing, but there's been that easy crossover between hip hop and neo Nashville and bro country, as they've said lately. I mean, why not use that a little bit? I mean, you could easily have used that a bit more than they did. So, I mean, they could have. It's not as if the idea that there's some group of audiences that couldn't possibly intermix is nonsense.
Yeah.
I mean, it could have strengthened both lineups. In other words.
Yeah, I think that'll be an interesting pairing to see, and it's one of many headliner things I'm looking forward to. I also I like that. There are some big acts from Wisconsin who are headlining ground stages.
Yes.
Garbage is headlining, Skillet is headlining. One I'm really looking forward to is the Violent Femmes, which are headlining on July 7th. And they released an album, their first full-length album in 16 years, We Can Do Anything, which I think is a really good album. It's kind of a return to form for them.
Actually, I think the same is true of the Garbage record. Is actually surprisingly strong. It's not a departure, but they're doing what they're doing in a very sharp way that they haven't done for a while.
Sure. So what are some headliner picks for you guys? We'll start with you, Katie. What's something that we should see?
Okay, so I'm not going to say that Pitbull creates great music in terms of what he's, might not be described as legendary, but there was one year I got free 6th row tickets to see him, and you know what? It was fun.
Yeah.
And so I feel like if you want to go to Summerfest and you want something that combines both entertainment and music, that's a good route to go.
Sure.
Most of Pitbull's songs are featuring someone else, so there's a lot of videos going on with J-Lo and whoever else, but it is just simple fun. So if you want that, go for it. Also, Modest Yahoo, who's becoming a little bit of a staple for this. I'm someone who finds things that are supposedly inspirational to be a little bit gauche, or they rub me the wrong way.
Okay.
But I think that Modest Yahoo does a good job with balancing music that can actually uplift people in a manner that speaks to them, no matter who you are.
Yeah, no one's doing Judaism and hip hop and reggae.
Exactly,
and pop.
exactly. And he's, I got to interview him. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
It's just an overall pick for me.
So Tyrone, I know you said it's a pretty weak lineup. Headliners that stand out to you, though?
For me, I would say the two that I'm interested in seeing would be Mayor Hawthorne and Morris Day. Obviously, with Prince passing, Morris Day, I'm interested to see how him and the band do it. What they have planned. And Mayor Hawthorne is this great, funk, neo soul kind of sound. And so not only with the hip hop, I would like to see more. I mean, can we get some more neo soul and R&B at Summerfest? I mean, D'Angelo just released one of the greatest albums of all time. So like that. So that's why I'm kind of reaching for that Mayor Hawthorne, because I love Mayor Hawthorne, what he's doing with Jake One and Tuxedo. So got to see that.
And John, headliner picks?
Well, actually, I cheated slightly with Casey Musgraves is opening for Tim McGraw, but obviously she's done plenty of headlining herself. Grammy winner from the same section of Texas that gave us Miranda Lambert. A little too, can lean a little bit too much on I'm just a simple country girl stuff, but the music surpasses that.
Yeah.
The music sort of surpasses that attitude, and certainly. I saw her in March, and I have to say, a very solid show, very entertaining, and a little goofy, and so a little bit more of that, even a little bit of Grand Ole Opry mixed in with the sort of modern stuff, which I appreciated, and a good band, which helped. And as far as the other one, that's alt country, sort of, although it's Ryan Adams.
Yeah.
Ryan Adams is there, and I will say that with him. Admittedly, he can be frustrating, but he has been in really good form in the last couple of years. Last year, he did do that
the Taylor Swift cover album.
Yes, 1989, which led some people to draw too many parallels between them, which, whatever else Ryan Adams has done in his long career with Whiskeytown and solo and country and folk and replacement style rock and roll and all that stuff, he never gave the world Shake It Off, so I think he gets the edge on this.
There you go.
And I like his version better,
really,
because I can barely understand it.
Yeah, so T Swift's a fan, so there you go. That's all you have to say for that.